Hi everybody, Kitty Sapphire here, and it's Monday. You know what that means? Con review. How's everybody doing? I know it feels like I haven't spoken to you guys in a very, very long time, and I know it's been busy. I changed up the schedule a time, doing a live stream, drawing live stream, and actually did a couple of speed drawings and such. So, I was just trying to feel my way around, even did some unboxings here and there. So I was just trying to get my way around, but we're back on our regular schedule with Mondays of con reviews. So today what I want to talk about is panels and workshops. I know before we talked about cosplay. We just talked about how to make your trips a little bit easier and less expensive, how you can sort of like cut corners in certain cases. I talked about my overview of what con life is like, but here I just want to go into the nitty-gritty of some of the components that I like. So like I said, I talked about cosplay and stuff about that, but now I want to talk about panels. It's one of my favorite components about conventions. And what I love about panels is some are lectures, some are workshops, some will make you happy, some of them will, cause you to cry a little bit and tearful. Some of them people show great love and admiration for what they're doing. And then there's some that are quite infuriating that gives you a chance to look at your community in a very different light. Sometimes they make you laugh, sometimes they make you think, sometimes it makes you rediscover and redefine yourself in a lot of cases, well, based on my personal experiences. And all around, it's just the passion that goes into the panelists and the people that are there that makes it worthwhile. And that's one of the reasons why I love panels. Now, I can't necessarily give you a full-on what do I like better, cosplay or panels, because I feel those two components, and then as we go on more with the series, we'll talk about some of the intricacies that makes a con, what makes the experience worthwhile than going to these places. But I'm getting a little bit off topic here. And then especially like later on this year in October, I was invited to become a fellow panelist for a friend who's hosting a panel in New York Comic Con. And it's really exciting. So I thought it would be best if I just talk about it and technically get out of the way now. So so yeah, so panels, I have no experience of running them, but I have been a common participant in various different panels. And a lot of people I heard ask, some of them on the outside, what's the difference between a workshop and a panel? Well, for all those who don't know and haven't been to a convention, a panel is more like a seminar. It's a full-on lecture, and a lot of people will tell you about a particular subject that they're interested in, or this is a place that they can sponsor themselves. This is some place of like conversation and sort of like some dialogue going on. I mean, like all panels or workshops show a little bit of dialogue here and there, but this is like predominantly dialogue written or skit written. Like they'll have crowd participation, but it's not anything hands-on. It's more of you're cheering and shouting and getting people amped that are already on stage or already in those panels talking about it, and you're in agreeing or or not. You're not actually doing anything. A workshop, however, is more of a hands-on type of thing. So like they have panels for sewing, so sewing certain plushies. Like I kid you not, that somebody not this per se, but like they have like little ones, like you can make a cat or make a Dragon Ball. I kid you not. There was a panel, I think in Anime Boston, not this past year, but the previous year, where you can make, your own personal Dragon Ball. And they had several people come in and, teach you basic stitching and how to make cosplay props. Also, they had a workshop, or the one that I participated in were the drawing workshops as well as the writing workshops. I'm not a very, I'm not really, I love telling stories, but my weakness is writing. So, to make a 3D character, I had to go to several workshops at the conventions to kind of give me a little bit more insight of how to make a 3D character, or pull your 2D character into a more well-rounded, well-encompassing, living, breathing character. So, that, villains, how to make a novel from beginning to end, those were pretty much workshops at the various different conventions that I went to. So that's a small little synopsis of what's the difference between, panels and workshops. And one of the things I love about panels particularly is you can have a large quantity of fun. Hi, Anime Kid. How are you? I hope everything is well. Wu-Tang Clan. I actually do like the Wu-Tang Clan. Especially there are a lot of inspirations toward Dragon Ball Z, and I was around during that the Dragon Ball Z era, the Toonami era. But I digress. But going back to my main part is, panels give you a little bit more different look on various different parts of the anime or video game community, depending on how you slice it. So, like, for instance, I've been to a panel at KineticCon where, for all you Dungeons and Dragons fans, how to be a good DM and not necessarily conduct the 7 deadly sins of DMing. I thought that was really cool. And they used the 7 deadly sins from Full Metal Alchemist as a reference of what to do, like not praising no favoritism. Don't, over lavish your players with a lot of stuff. And then, or magic items during the gameplay. Also, if you're particularly envious of a character who's getting a little bit more gameplay than they are, bring it to your DM. Try to spread the wealth around when you're talking about people's backstories, that type of thing, which I thought was really cool. That was like years ago. And then, that was another aspect of aspect of a panel that I didn't know about. Heck, I didn't learn about these and learn to appreciate them later on until I started playing D&D, which was like, I don't know, it's going on 2, maybe 3 years. I started playing, I've been playing D&D with my boyfriend and several of my other friends that on Sundays and stuff. So I didn't appreciate those things until like later on. And sometimes you run into panels that you're curious about. That was one of those panels that I was curious about, since everybody talked about D&D at the time and I knew nothing about it. So, sometimes you had panels that are referring to the medium of anime, such as there was a panel about the music of Madoka Magica, how the artist basically reprises a lot of female voices in very elegant, if not whimsical, and yet dark tones that add more layers to the anime. Or the laughable, never played the, I would say give it a try. Maybe one of these days I'll do like another extensive video and I'll talk about just solely D&D. D&D is fun, actually. Rule 20, was it Rule 40? Was it Rule 40? There's a couple of D&D websites that you can go to join a group and try it out for yourself. I have to say, my favorite part of D&D is like character making. and then actually, playing the game. It's really cool. But yeah, I would recommend it to you. D&D is fun. But going back to what I was saying before, Madoka Magica, there was a panel based on the musicality of Madoka Magica. Or there was another one where they basically compared anime intros to various different other anime intros from all over the country, and how the tones were completely different. Like ours was like more like an upbeat, you know, for instance, for Sailor Moon, it's a very upbeat, 80s cheese, guitar play, etc. And then you have the Italian version of Sailor Moon, which is all dramatic, and it's like, it reminds me of the telenovelas in Latin countries, but it has like a lot of drama and more romance to show that this is a very, besides you had female superheroes, there's a lot of romance and drama and it mixed into it that could hook anybody into it. So it's funny. Some of the panels are more active than others. Like, I kid you, so for example, there's cosplay panels, like my personal favorites at Anime Boston: cosplay dating game, cosplay shenanigans, cosplay deathmatch. Those are panels, but they're also like big events. So of course you have a large quantity of people of cosplaying, and they make skits and sort of like shenanigans out of people who play the character, and the people are really well immersed into the characters, and they put them through all these different types of hoops and obstacles and stuff like that makes you want to have a laugh, because it's like it's like the idea, okay, here's Sailor Moon, Goku from Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, Monkey D. Luffy, Alucard from Hellsing, Sebastian from Black Butler, Astra from Black Clover, and maybe Bon and Meliodas walk into a bar and something happens. Stuff like that. Which makes people want to laugh and have a good time and have a little bit of crowd of participation while you're laughing at these cosplayers. It's you have those types of panels, that you have the lecture type and then the more active type. Now, personally, one of the things that I have to say about myself regarding panels is that I have favorites, but I don't have favorites at the same time, because of the fact that if I solely dedicate myself to the favorites, I'm sort of closing myself off to possible new opportunities of panels. Like, for instance, I did one time where I love Lolita fashion, but I also like cosplay, and I know this might turn a lot of people off, but Lolita has a strict code of design and fashion, and they don't kind of move out of that particular box. And I like cosplay, so I kind of, for me, like to marry the two in certain aspects. So, like, for instance, I have a Lolita girl cosplay of I have a cosplay where it pays homage to Lolita, but it's still a cat girl. It's still a cat girl, and just harks a lot of Lolita principles. Maybe one or two principles I would have to say I'm breaking a bit, but it's inspired by it. So I don't want to say it's full on Lolita, but it's close. But I bring this up because there's a panel that I went to called Lolita 101. They went over the whole entire gamut of different types of Lolita, like goth, pastel goth, sailor, wall Lolita, Victorian, goth, these different types of categories. And, I take a little bit of that. I take a little bit of the cosplay of how to do props and, inspiring base panels. Like, I always go to panels for So You Can't Cosplay, or you know, Black cosplayers matter, or the disability and what is it, disability and support for cosplayers, you know, stuff like that, which inspires me to keep cosplaying and doing what I love in those panels. And they're very uplifting. And just to see a large quantity of people, I mean, every single panel I've been to that basically goes to a particular demographic, like you know, disabilities, the POC community, you know, So They Say You Can't Cosplay, every time that panel is packed. Oh my goodness. Not one seat is available. You have to get there very early. But it brings really a lot of joy to my heart that a lot of people show up because they want to support each other. They want to support this community, and they want, you know, positive things for cosplayers. But see, this is the thing that, you know, again, I wish to be open to. And then there's some times where I do panels that I'm, you know, not sure about, but I want to put the effort in to go see because it seems curious to me, like Castlevania and the Gothic style, which sadly I didn't get a chance to fully sit into because I was working at Anime Boston, so you know, I had to make sure I made my schedule. So yeah, I had to make my schedule. So you have to get back to my particular job. But it did sound interesting when I first sat in, more or less 10, maybe 15 minutes into the panel, which talked about more historical aspects of Castlevania and how it harks back to a lot of the Gothic era and more religious texts, not in the way that you might think, but more of stylized and fashion and expression in that regard. So I thought that was really cool. I just wish I could have stayed for the whole thing. And it switched on me. It originally was late at night, and then, you know, it switched on to a much more early day in the morning, and it's like, I'm working. No, I don't want to work. I want to go to this panel. So, you know, what else? I also like going to see several anime or voice actor or anime personalities like Team 4-Star, which years upon years, it's been a while since I've been at Kineticon, that they would come by and the panel would be packed. They had to use 2 rooms in order to get those guys, to get everybody in, which I thought was really cool. And, you know, it was really fun when they announced Machina Bridge and, you know, going into the Cell Saga for Dragon Ball Z, and then Hellsing, a bridge came out, and then not My Hero Academia, Attack on Titan, which, by the way, I'm not a huge fan of Attack on Titan, just to get it out the way. So, and then, of course, you got the big time Masquerade, you have Cosplay Chess, you have Cosplay Match Game, and you have possible concerts. Now, those the Masquerade I got accustomed to through Kineticon and Anime Boston. The concert was strictly Anime Boston when I appreciated those panels. And that was at the time when I was security guard at Anime Boston. So, yeah, it's just a lot to experience. And I feel that everybody should take the time to, yes, go to your favorite panel, but also at least maybe pick 1 or 2 that you might not be sure about, because to your surprise, you might find something that you like, and it might be useful in the future. Thank you very much, 7 Deadly Sins of D&D. Anyway, so yeah, that's pretty much it from me from Con Review. Hopefully next time, I will see you guys for Nerd News. All right, I'll see you guys later. Bye.